بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum again, and welcome to another session where we're looking at some of the topics in advanced structures. And yesterday we covered فعل ماضي, the different usages, the standard use and the non-standard use. And today, inshallah, we'll look at the مضارع. So the standard use and the non-standard use for the مضارع. But before maybe we do that, I'm just going to give a quick summary of what we did. So if you go back to this, if we go back to this table that I showed last time, it's a complete summary of the MaDi and the مضارع. So we did this part basically. So today we're going to cover this part. Okay. And just to recap what we did yesterday is that we said there are three normal usage or standard use of the فعل ماضي, and there's also three ways in which it is used in a non-standard way. So we talked about the plain past, something that is just mentioned in the past. It could be a recent past, like something that happened yesterday, or something that happened at dhuhr time, or in the past, but it's a recent past, or something that happened in the morning and right now maybe it's a different time, something like that. Or it could be a distant past, something that happened, I don't know, 50,000 years ago, something that happened 2,000 years ago. That's a distant past, okay? Or it could be a single occurrence, so something that happens once in a lifetime, like we talked about the floods of Noah, the creation of Adam, things like that. They happen once in the history. And then you have repeated occurrence in the past, something that continuously happened in the past. Very easy to understand concepts. So that is the normal usage. It all has to do with something happening in the past, whether it's once, whether it's several times, whether it's shortly before or long time ago. That's the standard normal usage of a MaDi. Then we talked about the three different abnormal or non-standard use, and that we talked about in dua. The MaDi is always used in dua. Even when we are making our own duas, we use the MaDi. We say ربنا آتنا, آتا يؤتي. So we use the آتا version, the MaDi version. Ya Allah, give us. We are requesting, but we use the آتنا is مضارع. Wait, that's an amr. Sorry, that's an amr. Completely different concepts. Sorry. We say Jazakallah, we say this is what we meant by dua. We say Jazakallah, we say Hayyakallah, we say Shafakallah. All these different du'as come in the form of the MaDi. Okay. And then we talked about promises and warnings, which is basically comes mostly in the context of Jannah, Jahannam, where something is being promised to you in a way that is almost guaranteed. So we use the MaDi. Yeah. Or so you're being warned in such a way that it is almost guaranteed. Yeah. So the MaDi is used. And then we mentioned 5 specific structures in which there's the usage most of the time is going to depend on the context. 3 of them, it depends on the context. 2 of them, they're always going to be مضارع. So that you will translate it as a مضارع. Even though it's MaDi, we will translate it as a مضارع. So those 5 structures, we have the اسم موصول. So if before the فعل, we have اسم موصول. So the context will tell you is it MaDi or مضارع. How are you going to translate it? You're going to look at it as a MaDi or a مضارع. Then we talked about من حيث and حيث. We talked about لولا. Those 3, the context will tell you. Then we also talked about جملة شرطية. If you have a جملة شرطية, جملة شرطية is always translated in the future. We talked about this, or in the مضارع sense. But if it's a MaDi, it means single occurrence. If it's a مضارع, it means something that has happened several times. So that is a جملة شرطية. And then lastly, we had همزة التسوية. This is a structure. أذهبت أم لم تذهب. And then that gives you basically a مضارع structure. You translate it in the مضارع. So those are the 5 structures. So inshallah, today we're going to look at the مضارع, both the plain standard usage and the non-standard usage. So we've done the summary of all that. So let's begin. So for the مضارع, the standard use of a مضارع is either a present tense, if I'm talking about right now, أدرس درسا. I am teaching a class. This is present tense. What's happening now? Future tense, I could say أذهب إلى الزفاف. I am going to the wedding. Maybe in future. What I'm saying is I will go to the wedding. Somebody asks me, hey, are you going to the wedding? I say, أذهب إلى الزفاف. I'm going to the wedding. Or I will go to the wedding. So it can be used for either present tense or the future tense. Sometimes with the future, you will have seen or سوف to indicate that it's a future tense. Sometimes you have that, but sometimes you don't. And we use the مضارع still to denote the future tense. We know that. That's just a reminder. Now we go into the non-standard use. There are 3 non-standard usages of a مضارع. Okay, so 3. The first one is if you want to paint a picture. Say you're talking about an event that happened 10 years ago, but I want to speak about this event in a way that you can actually see it right now. So what do? I use the مضارع. Even though I'm describing something that happened a long time ago, it's in the past, but I use the مضارع so that you can actually feel it. You can see the images come together. You can be in the present with that image that happened a long time ago. So that's the first usage, non-standard use. Use the مضارع to paint a picture of something that happened a long time ago. Okay, for example, we have this story of Musa alayhi salam. They reach up to the sea, and Musa parts the sea with his stuff, بإذن with the permission of Allah, and فكان كل فرق كالطود العظيم. And every partition, like both, it parted into 2 waves. So you have both waves like parted into one giant like wave, like both parts parted into like giant waves. That's what that means. فكان كل فرق, so every partition became like كالطود العظيم. And then you have يمشون بينهما مندهشون. يمشون, I'm using the مضارع يمشون. This is an event that happened at the time of Musa, but because I want you to imagine, okay, these 2 massive waves on either side, and then they are walking. I don't say they walked, مشوا. I'm saying يمشون, they are walking. بينهما, between them. مندهشون, amazed. Like they're looking at this water over here, and fishes are swimming and going back, and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. You can also visualize it. When I say they're walking, you can almost imagine yourself walking with them, like, oh, I can actually see this. So that's one use of the مضارع to help you paint a picture of something that may have occurred a long time ago. That's one. The second one is used as an emphatic command to make an amr, a command that is more emphatic than the normal command or the normal forbidding. For example, we use the command, we say لا تذهب. لا تذهب, don't go. That's a forbidding. Or اذهب, go. That's a command. So sometimes we can use the مضارع to make this statement even more emphatic. For example, your mother tells you, you are not going, or you do not go. It's extra. It's more emphasis. It's more scary than don't go. Don't go, I mean, it feels like sometimes I may have a choice, like don't go, then I choose to go. But if I say you do not go, or if I say you are not going, I try to avoid this structure, even though it makes more sense in the English language, because it makes it look like a jumla ismiya because of the R, but it paints a clearer picture. So when I say you do not go, or when I say you are not going, you actually understand. You're like, wow, okay, fine, I'm not going, sure, okay, I'm gonna stay. Like it's more emphatic. So the same way, لا تذهبوا, just the dhamma, you can imagine, this is the only difference from sukun majzoom to مضارع مرفوع. Just that change, and it makes all the difference in Arabic. And sometimes you see this, Allah use this a lot in the Quran as well, and it's more emphatic. So we have to pay attention to this. When we are reading this, before we knew the grammar and we knew all this stuff, we'll just read this and not pay any extra attention. Be like, oh, this is a forbidding, nothing much happening there. But because it is marfu', because it has a dhamma there, because it's mudara', and it's not majzoom, it's not a forbidding or a command, then it's more emphatic. So we have to pay attention when Allah says, gives commands and forbids like this. Okay, so that's that. Again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. We're going to probably have a shorter session because there's not a lot to cover in the Mudara section, unlike the Madi. Then the last non-standard use of a Mudara is if you have id before the Mudara. And in that case, it can either be translated as Madi or Mudare, depending on the context. See how this topic is all about the context? Like almost 90% of the things we covered tells you, look at the context. If you want to understand if it's Madi or Mudare, just look at the context. I mean, there are a few things here and there which are, you know, concrete, like they've already been established. But most of the things I gave you, it all depends on the context. What is the context telling you? So for example, if I say, أتذكر, do you remember? أتذكر إذ تقول لصاحبك الحق فارتاح وجهه. Do you remember when تقول لصاحبك, you said, now see, I'm translating as Madi. When you said, so do you remember? It's something that happened in the past. I'm asking you to remember something in the past. You cannot remember something that in the future. You cannot remember something that is happening right now. You remember something that has already happened. So do you remember when you said to your friend the truth and his face basically relaxed and he was comforted, his face relaxed? Yeah, so maybe I don't know the scenario what that would be, but maybe he was afraid and then you told him the truth and he was like, okay, finally. There was a sigh of relief on his part. So you see, because of the context of what is happening, I'm asking you to remember something in the past. I won't translate this taqulu, which is mudara, taqulu, you say. So I won't say, do you remember when you say to your friend? No, when you said to your friend, when you told your friend the truth and his face was relaxed, do you remember? That is a madi. We translate that in the past. But it could come with the mudara and we translate it as a mudara. How? Let's look at the second example. إذ تتكثر. إذ تتكثر. كثر تكثر يتكثر. إذ تتكثر الخبيث فاعلم أن الساعة I think it's supposed to be الساعة. Yes. فاعلم أن الساعة قريب. When الخبيث, filth, basically, when filth increases, again, I don't say when filth increased, because the context is telling me about يوم القيامة, الساعة, the day of judgment. So this is something that will happen in the future. I cannot say when filth increased, then know that the hour is approaching or the hour is near. No, I'm going to say when filth increases in the mudari' form, then know that the hour is near. Okay, I hope that's clear. Any questions so far? So we have three, just to summarize that, we have three non-standard usages in the mudari'. So the first one is painting a picture. I want to paint a beautiful picture about something that happened in the past, so I use the mudari'. Or I want to give an extra emphasis to the command. I want to add more emphasis to command and to forbidding, so I use the mudari'. Or lastly, if there's an if, then I will look at the context. I'll look at the context and decide, am I going to translate it in the Madi or in the Mudara? All right. So basically, this is, like I did a summary for you here, a summary of the process of identifying the fi'l. So you're looking at the fi'l. If it's Madi, the first question you need to ask yourself, is it standard or non-standard? Okay. Then if it's standard, it can either be plain, so distant or recent, or it can be single occurrence, or it could be repeated. If it's non-standard, it's either dua, a promise or a warning, or one of these 5 special structures. Okay. If it's mudari', it's either a standard use, which is going to be a normal present or a future tense, or if it's non-standard use, it's going to be 3 things. It's going to either be a painting a picture, or it's going to be an emphatic command. You're stressing something in a command or a forbidding form, or it's going to be preceded by id. So it's going to come after id. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to take you through the first passage. Inshallah, we'll do the first passage. And then the second passage, you can try it out on your own and see if you can be able to identify some of these things. And also just ask yourself, like, what difference would it make if we look at it this way as opposed to the other way? I think it would add value to our understanding of the Quran and also the translation of the Quran as well. Okay. So if you want to participate, you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. Let me know. Okay. Great. So we have Fawzia, we have Fahima, and we have Saima. Great. So we have the first one. هو الذي خلقكم. So that's, we have خلقكم. Oh, by the way, the tip here, I put it for you, a nice tip here. Check for non-standard use first, because it's easier to spot a non-standard use. If you see an ism mawsul, if you see حيث من حيث, if you see is before the مضارع, like it's easier to spot. Because if it's just normal, then you're like, is it normal? Is there something else going on? It's harder to spot. So that would be my tip for you. Okay. All right, Fawzia, let's look at number one. What do you think?
هو الذي خلقكم. So it's preceded by an ism mawsul.
Good.
The الذي. And because I know that khalaqa means create, so you would only create once.
So, good.
So I would go with, so it falls into the ism mawsul category, and the MaDi will be translated as he is the one who creates you. So it will be translated as MuDare.
مضارع? Or MaDi?
He is the one who created you. No, MaDi.
Yeah, because even though like he is still creating other things, but your creation, because again, it's خلقكم أنتم, you were created only once. Like, yeah, it only happened once in the past. So we look at the context and we realize, okay, so this is only talking about once. So this is, it's actually a distant past. You can also see that our creation happened a long time ago. It's not like yesterday. So it's a distant past. It's happening only once. And because it's an ism mawsul before it, we ask ourselves, how do we translate? We look at the context. The context is telling us, yeah, this is definitely a MaDi. We translate this as a MaDi. So we're going to translate this as a MaDi. And I made for you a nice table for those of you who want to write. You can write all your answers here. But I'm just going to focus on, actually, let's make it bigger. Yeah, let's go that way. All right. So let's see who else we have here. We have Fahima. So هو الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وجعل منها زوجها ليسكن. First of all, ماضي مضارع, and what should we do here?
So that واحدة وجعل, and he made that زوجها, it's fair, so that it's normal مضارع, so that they can seek tranquility towards it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything special happening here. Or maybe you can even, if you want to stretch it further, you can say maybe we're trying to paint a picture here, but it just looks like a normal mudare, so that they can continue, you know, they can have tranquility. Yeah. So
it's like painting a picture.
You can try and look at it that way, but I think it's just a normal mudare usage. You can say, okay, fine, you know, setting the but it's a bit too much if you look at it that way. I think a normal mudare fits perfectly here, because it's just, okay, Allah is just giving a reason, like, you know, liyaskuna ilayha, so that they can find tranquility in them or in the spouse. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything non-standard happening there. All right. فلما تغشاها حملت حملا خفيفا. Yes.
I have a question. Lam la yaskunu. So there's an M. Is that in lam for emphasis?
Okay, so look at the mudara. What happened to the mudara?
Yaskuna. It's a mansub. So it's ja'ala maf'ul bihi.
So this lam is lam What kind of lam is it? Li, an, lan, li.
Oh,
Huh.
likai. Oh,
Uh-huh.
this is harf nasab.
Yes.
And then likai is in hatta.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
liyaskuna. That's why it's liyaskuna. Otherwise, it'll be yaskunu.
True. I
Mm.
didn't read it properly. Thank you.
No problem. That's fine. We all sometimes, we need. That's why I'm trying to make it bigger, but sometimes, it can't even fit the screen. It will be out because sometimes it's so hard to see some of this harakat. It's okay. All right. Saima, فلما تغشاها.
So taghashaha, it is mudare.
Mhm.
So mudare, the non-standard is like painting a picture, emphatic. So there is no command, and it is
Mhm.
not. So those two are gone. So one is remaining, that is painting a picture. And then
Mhm.
otherwise the standard usage, like present
Yeah.
to the future. So
Yeah.
falamma, when it is like falamma, when.
Mm-hmm.
When is like when you remember like that, it is falamma, or it is just like normal falamma.
No, falamma when it comes to wait, am I forgetting something? Yeah, lamma when it comes with madi, it means when. When it comes with mudara,
Not yet.
but that when it makes sense here, would it? It doesn't make sense here as not yet. Because basically the ayah is saying فَلَمَّا تَغَشَّاهَا. No, this is تغشى. This is ماضي. What are we doing? This is ماضي. It's not مضارع.
It
no
is
wonder. تغشى يتغشى. It's ماضي.
family 5 it is?
Yes.
Oh,
5. Yeah.
I saw Tasha and Tagasha. So it is okay. So all the way, so
Yeah.
everything got cancelled.
Yes. Now start afresh.
Yeah. So okay. So non-standard mein no silatul mausul, no min haisu, not hamza, not laula, not jumla shartiya. No,
Mhm.
lamma is a adawatul shart.
لما is. Yes, it is. Yes. But it's not jazima. It doesn't make it majzoom. Yeah, but it is adatu
But
shart.
yeah, it is adawatul shart.
Uh-huh.
Which shart ke liye and it is Madi. So it will be translated as Madi only, but the significance will be that it is one time
Once.
event.
Yeah, beautiful, exactly. So it will be translated mudara because it pushes the meaning to the future, but it will just be a one-time event. Like when he envelopes her, that's kind of like what it means. It's a beautiful way Allah is describing intimacy in the Quran. Like there's haya to how Allah speaks in the Quran, especially in certain matters. So you can see even the language that is being used, when he envelopes her or when he covers her, something like that. حملت حملا خفيفا. She carries a weak load, if you will. So the woman gets pregnant, in other words. Mm.
So
Then you
okay,
have
with jumla shart, sorry. So like it will be translated as mudare.
yes.
But in the notes it's written repeated even for mudare. So
For mudari, but for madi is one time. We're going to translate it in the future in mudara still, but it's one time mudara. And if we're using mudara, because right now this is madi, right? This is madi. Because it's madi, it's one time. Although we'll translate it as mudara.
Okay, if it would have been tata ghasha, then it would be like repeated event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Fawzia, let's come back to you. So فَلَمَّا أَثْقَلَتْ.
So
There's a question?
Lamma is again no, not for me. Lamma is again adat shart, and asqalat is fail madi, and it's going to get translated as mudare. So when she becomes heavy, they
Though that
call
one
on-
time.
Yes, that one time when she is pregnant.
Exactly. So you see how it makes a difference? Like normally we just say, okay, when she becomes heavy or when she became heavy. Some people might actually translate this as when she became heavy. No, but Allah is actually, the way it has been used, it can be translated as when she becomes heavy, that one time after this happened. So you can see how it goes on from there.
So would we translate it as becomes or became?
Becomes, because Jumla Shartiya is translated in the Mudara, whether it comes with Madi or not.
Okay.
The difference is that Madi signifies one-time event. Mudara signifies repeated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what happened, but we lost. Who was it? I forgot who it was.
Fahima.
Fahima, yes. Yeah. Fahima. Anyway, maybe she'll join us later. Did we lose that? No, Sama is still there. Okay,
No,
Sama
I'm
will
here.
go to you. Yeah.
دعوا الله ربهما لئن آتيتنا. So it is Madi and in is another word.
Exactly.
So
Good
it
call.
will be translated into present tense, but it will be a one-time event. So
exactly.
if we
Anta,
you
Ataita. Yeah.
you give. So if you give us, you give us.
Yes, if you give us. So basically they're making a dua. Maybe they've been trying so hard. And then that one time that they get intimate and that one time that she actually becomes heavy and gets pregnant, دعوا الله ربهما. They both made dua to Allah. Ya Allah, لئن أتيتنا صالحا. لئن آتيتنا صالحا. If you give us a good, basically a good one, like they don't even mention the gender, like whether it's a girl or a boy, we don't really care. Just give us good. We just want good. Yeah, لنكونن من الشاكرين. We would definitely be from those who are grateful. فلما آتاهما صالحا. Then when Allah gives them what they asked for, basically gives them a very good offspring, جعلا له شركاء. They both together, just the way they made dua together, da'awa means both, جعلا means both. So both of them made together at the same time. And then after they get a good offspring, both of them, they make partners with Allah. They associate partners with Allah. فيما آتاهما, with what He gave them. Subhanallah. Then Allah says, فَتَعَالَ اللَّهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. Fawzia, فَتَعَالَ.
Ta'ala, it looks like it's mudare.
So this is ta'ala ya ta'ala.
Oh, so then it's Madi. Ta'ala ya ta'ala. Okay, so that's Madi. And ta'ala means exalted. So exalted is
when you have a Madi, go through the process. When you have a Madi, go through the non-standard usages.
So that's dua and the promise and warning, and then the special. There's no special here. So I'm going to go back to. So I'm going to go back to dua, and that's what it looks like.
Yes.
Allah is exalted.
Yes, it's like saying, "May Allah be exalted," like the way we say,
yeah.
May Allah reward you. May Allah cure you. So we're saying, "May Allah be exalted. May Allah be glorified."
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a dua.
It's a dua. Yes. فَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. May Allah be exalted from what they do shirk. Yeah. Then we have Sayma, أَيُشْرِكُونَ. This is question word. أَيُشْرِكُونَ مَا لَا يَخْلُقُ. So أَيُشْرِكُونَ. What do you think about this word?
So this is Mudare.
Yes.
Mudare. There is no emphatic command, and it is not for. So two things are gone. one is remaining, that is painting a picture. Otherwise, it's message.
Yeah.
Okay. Yushrikuni. So, Yushrikuni. There's Ashraka Yushriku. He made partners. You will make partners with me.
So are they, it's a question,
I don't
are
know.
they making partners? Like
It's like normal standard usage, normal.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a normal usage.
Yeah, it's a normal standard usage. Or it could even be painting a, I don't know. I don't want to stretch so much this imagination of painting a picture, but let's just go with standard. But you can imagine like
in this one, because it's a past event when they both like they made partners, like when they did dua and Allah gave them and then they did partners. So it might be a painting picture.
Yeah, it can be, exactly, it can be. So it can be like Allah is creating emphasis, like He's trying to make you imagine, like, can you believe these guys that they are associating partners with me? Ayushrikuna billah, they are associating with Allah, and how they, after Allah gave them so much, after they begged and they did all these things, and now ayushrikuna ma la yakhluqu with what la yakhluqu, basically doesn't create. Yeah. And of course, the ayah started with huwa alladhi khalaqakum. He's the one who created you. And now here you come, after He created you, and He created for you an offspring that you begged for so much. Now you come and associate partners with Him, with something that doesn't even create. Like, subhanallah, how, like, just the flow of the Quran. Right. La yakhluqu. What do you think?
So here is first question would be, is ma ism mawsool here?
Yes.
And then if this is ism mawsool, does it have to be connected directly with the fi'l mudari? No.
This sentence would be the silatul mawsool.
This would be the silatul mawsool.
Yeah.
I was confusing the ism mawsool in the MaDi structures. So no, this is the fi'l mudari.
Yeah,
and
this is fi'l mudari.
so do they associate what cannot be created? Okay, what he cannot
what
create.
does not create. So this is like ayushrikuna with what? You can add here with to make more sense of it. So
Okay,
are they associating partners with what does not create anything? Like basically they took up
like
an idol.
Yeah. So this looks like a normal usage of mudare?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a normal usage. Or it can even be like
or it can be the picture.
Yeah.
Or it can be the visual picture that is being painted.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just with the mudara is pretty easy. You can see, like, you can easily identify. The MaDi is the one that is a bit, because there's a lot more to it. But with MaDi, mudara, it's a bit straightforward a little bit. Yeah. So you can just say this is either like a normal usage or it's continuing off the painting of the picture from the previous. Like if you decide that this is painting the picture, then obviously you can just continue with that imagery and continue painting the picture. Yeah. So ayushrikuna ma la yakhluqu shay'an? Are they worshipping or are they associating partners with Allah, with what basically la yakhluqu shay'an, with what cannot or what does not create anything? وَهُمْ يُخْلَقُونَ, and they are the ones who are in fact created. وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ لَهُمْ نَصْرًا وَلَا أَنفُسَهُم. Okay. So وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ.
يستطيعون is mudare. Non-standard, again, it is there is no emphatic command, and there is no case. Those two are gone, only two are remaining. Painting a picture, wala yastati'una lahum nasran. So those things like shuraka, they don't possess any power.
Yeah.
It can be a normal present tense, or it might be a continuation of painting a picture.
Exactly.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that's
wow.
basically it. Yeah, with the harf ataf, just continuing off. So it can either be normal or just painting that picture. All right. وَإِن تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى الْهُدَى, and if you call them to guidance, لَا يَتَّبِعُوكُمْ, they don't follow you.
So this is jumla shartiya with the in, and this is fi'l madi. and it's translated as مضارع. So if you call
But is it wait, pause, go back a second. Is it ماضي or مضارع? What do you think?
تدعو يدعو, it's مضارع.
It's مضارع.
Yeah.
So the شرطية
تدعو.
basically doesn't apply.
No, that should be, then it's just translated directly as مضارع. If
Yeah.
you call them.
Yeah. So this is another just normal مضارع. If you call them, or, and of course, because we said it's a, no, this is, yeah, because it's a مضارع used here, comes with a shart, then it's going to be like a repeated event. Yeah. So if you keep on calling them إلى الهدى, to guidance, لا يتبعكم, they will not follow you. Yeah. Then we have سواء عليكم أدعوتموهم أم أنتم صامتون. What do you think about
I
أدعوتموهم?
think this is an easy one. There's and and
Exactly.
past tense. So it will be translated as مضارع.
Yes. This is
Do
always going
or-
to be a مضارع.
سواء, yeah, even سواء was there.
Exactly.
It's to them, like same whether you call them, to they call them,
You call
or
them.
you all call them, right?
Yeah.
Or antum samitun, or you all remain quiet.
Yeah.
So it is
Exactly.
equal whether you call them or you don't call them.
Yeah, it's the same. Whether you call them or you don't call them, it's the same.
Mm.
So we don't say it's the same whether you called them or you don't. No. Or you remain silent. No. سواء عليكم أدعوتموه أم أنتم صامتون. It's the same whether you call them or you remain silent. Great. So I'm gonna stop there. This next passage you can just do it on your own and try and figure out. And also maybe even other passages in the Quran. I try to find passages that may have quite a bit of variety so that we can do quite a bit. So you can go through it. If you have any questions, you can ask in the group, or you can private message me if that's fine with you. And that will be the end.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Oh, you go ahead first, and I'll ask.
No, I was just summarizing. So you ask your question.
So this وهم يخلقون, I know it means because it's passive while they were created, but it's مضارع, right? And we translated it as past. Was it just because it's passive, or this is a non-standard usage?
وهم يخلقون, and they are. Oh, that's a good question. I didn't even notice this. وهم يخلقون, because literally it would be, and they are the ones being created, right? Yeah. So and the question actually is, what is it referring to? Is it referring to the idols, or is it referring to the parents, or the fact that it hasn't been said, the fact that the passive is being used, does it mean that all of them applies? So that's a very interesting question that it didn't cross my mind. It's a very good question. I think I wanna read some tafsir and see this hum. What is it going back to? I would like to know. I'm not so sure. Honestly, I don't know how to answer that. It could be like an unstandard usage, but which one though? It's very interesting. Because it's not painting a picture, it's not an emphatic. Is it? What was? Honestly, I don't know about this one. I need to research more about this one. This is a good catch. I'm just gonna highlight it so that I remember. But if anybody finds out also, you can let us know. I will research about this and then I'll post it in the group, inshallah. Any other interesting or?
Okay, I think, yeah, I think in this Ibn Kathir, it says Do they attribute as partners to Allah those who created nothing, but they themselves are created?
So it's
Hindu
referring to the
usage.
idol.
They themselves are created. I
Or
don't think it's the idols. I think it's the people who are
worship.
worshipping idols.
I think it's interesting the fact that the majhul is used because it doesn't give any indication to who the doer is, which is very interesting. Yeah, and in this case,
Probably because they don't believe in Allah, so Allah is telling them that because I don't know.
I see why we're translating it as MaDi because it's majhul. How did I miss that?
Right, that's what I said. Are we
Yeah.
just translating it as MaDi because it's passive, or because it's a non-standard use of that's how yeah.
Oh, sorry, that part I missed it. Yeah, I think we're translating as passive because it's majhul. Yukhlaqun, they're being created. Wahum yukhlaqun, and they are being created. But of course, if you say it like that, it sounds weird. So, and they themselves are created. Oh yeah. So that's a
Okay.
nice question.
So that goes for all like the usages which we have learned over here. So that goes only for the active forms, or it goes for the passive form also?
I think it applies to the passive as well. I think it applies. I don't know if I found an example for that, but maybe I'll watch out for an example where a passive is used in a non-standard use. Maybe if I come across, I'll share. Any other questions? Okay, great. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم guys.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خيرا.
وعليكم
جزاك الله خيرا.
وإياكم جزاكم الله خير.